Velbeck, please clear the park or we'll have to call off the game and close the park.
People were throwing cherry bombs at me and you know, beers, and it was insane. I mean, it was really insane.
A lot of fans trying to get in the dugout here, the White Sox dugout, but they've got security guards around it.
It was an unbelievable thing because we didn't actually know what was going on inside the ballpark. We just knew that there was like a riot.
What say we all regain our seats so we can play baseball again?
I'm a very fortunate person. I am doing exactly what I want to do. That was the only day in 43 years where I said I didn't want to be in baseball.
Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Shake your booty.
Disco sucked because I worked at a station that was a rock station, WDAI, when I first came to Chicago in 1978. And they changed their format to disco, and I lost my job. Hence, disco sucked.
He was a renegade disc jockey who, at 24 years old, found himself in the center of a musical mutiny. Steve Dahl, a man who helped kill disco as well as a baseball field, all in one infamous night.
I might have tapped into some disenfranchisement on the part of the young rock and roller.
For us back in those days, he was so different than anything we had heard on the radio and so honest and outspoken.
Needing a place for his listeners to vent their disco frustrations, Dahl's new station, WLUP Radio, combined with the White Sox, the home of the exploding scoreboard, to host a disco demolition, where fans would bring unwanted disco records to Comiskey Park in exchange for a ticket to a doubleheader between the Sox and Tigers.
The price of admission was 98 cents because that was the frequency of the loop. Actually, it was 97.9. So it was 98 cents, plus you had to have a disco record to be blown up.
But as they planned for the big event, Dahl was concerned that the real demolition might be to his young career.
I mean, how many people can I draw? I'm going to look like an idiot in an army helmet and an army jacket with fishing lures on it, you know, in front of, at best, 10,000 people. So they talked me into it, and I went, and surprisingly, it was a huge success.
Disco sucks! Disco sucks!
I was playing shortstop that night. First game of a doubleheader, supposedly a doubleheader. The scent that was in the stands was not your normal baseball crowd, and it was just right from the get-go you could tell it was not a baseball night.
That street was filled with people, cops on horses, you know, the smell of marijuana everywhere. It was like Woodstock on 35th Street.
Where you could see, you know, people climbing in those big arches out in left field. People climbing up, getting on each other's shoulders and making a human-like chain.
I think they said 90 or 100,000 people inside and outside. And, you know, plus, at some point, they shut down the Dan Ryan, and they were, well, people just abandoned their cars. And that was really when I first knew that it was going to be something big.
The plan that fateful evening was for Dahl to blow up the disco records in center field in between the doubleheader, and then quickly and quietly leave the park. But first, the White Sox and Tigers needed to finish and survive that first game.
People that were around the stadium that couldn't get in were throwing, or a lot of them were throwing LPs over the stadium. So you can imagine how dangerous that was.
Ed Farmer pitched the final 3 2/3 innings that night for the White Sox.
What I remember vividly about this was the Beach Boys record coming across, and that wasn't even disco. But just remember the Beach Boys, fun, 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 as I picked it up on the infield grass, because it came sailing by my face.
After that first game ended, a Tigers victory 4-1, Dahl entered the field to a frenzied crowd, more than 15,000 above capacity.
I was petrified. I'd say petrified, fearing for my life and my job at that point, yet thinking it was cool, and realizing I had nothing clever to say.
And then came the moment everyone was waiting for.
1, 2, 3, boom! Yeah!
I mean, it was frightening. It was there was vinyl everywhere, flying everywhere, and it, you know, it caught on fire. I mean, it was awesome, though.
Dahl and his radio partner, Gary Meyer, then rode off the field, and both teams began preparing for the second game. but the fans had other ideas.
Some guy just jumped out, I think it was in left field, and just started running around, and then another guy did it, and it was like popcorn, you know, just like all of a sudden, boom, everyone jumped on the field.
Jimmy Pearsall back in the ballpark, and I'm sure glad, and I hope they don't let you people see what's going on here at Comiskey Park. One of the saddest sights I've ever seen in a ballpark in my life. This garbage of demolishing a record has turned into a fiasco.
We never thought we'd get a chance to be on a baseball field. Obviously, Chicago sports were awful back then. This is before the Bears Super Bowl, before Michael Jordan, so we really hadn't won anything here in a long time. So this was kind of like our pennant celebration that we would never get.
Lost in the mayhem were Roger Bossard and his father, Gene, the groundskeepers for the White Sox.
The battle at Little Bighorn, I know how Custer felt when he saw everybody coming at him. It was sort of amazing coming down the foul poles. Yeah, it was a horrible incident.
But there's still a burning ceremony going on out in center field.
They took the benches from the picnic area and built a bonfire in the middle of center field. And let me say this, that's very depressing for the groundkeeper when you see a bonfire in the middle of your field.
People would like run around in intervals, run around the bases and make like head first slides or crazy slides. And there was some guy at the plate pretending like he was an umpire and safe or out.
For over 35 minutes, thousands of fans took control of the baseball field. White Sox owner Bill Veeck tried to calm the situation by singing an old baseball classic.
Root, root for the White. Come on, go!
It didn't work.
It was funny because we all loved Bill Veeck, and you know we were singing it with him, like yeah, let's do it. And then once it was over, it's like okay, clear the field, and we're like, not yet, no.
I offered to try to get people back in their seats, but I was not taken up on that.
So it came down to the Chicago police.
Now the police are out on the field.
It took just 3 minutes for police to clear the field, but the damage to the field was so great, the Sox were forced to forfeit the second game to the Tigers, and the event would cast a dark shadow over the White Sox franchise for years.
I really do love baseball, and I respect it, and I never meant to defile the game.
I remember talking to Bill Veeck's secretary a couple weeks after that, and she said that Bill had over 5,000 letters from people within 3 weeks after that. And I felt so sorry for him. Those were 5,000 letters that she told me to my face of people going, we'll never come back, we'll never watch a baseball game, and da-da-da-da.
As for disco,
I think you could demolish a lot of things, but I think we've demolished disco to a point where it never will come back.
The Bee Gees say that I killed disco, so that's good enough for me.
Chuck Garfien, Comcast Sportsnet.